Hey, customers, welcome back for another episode of Fast Film, where we cover all the news and reviews just for yous. This week, we're going to be covering June 26th through July 2nd. For trailers this week, Luis, you got Five Nights at Freddy's to start with?
Yeah, we do. So we finally got our first trailer for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I played the first game, but I never really kept up with them. And I know there's a bunch of lore behind this game, a bunch of theories, and it kind of seems like they're going with the children, the ghost children, being stuck in the animatronics. We also have Josh Hutcherson, who's playing the newly hired security guard in charge of the pizzeria. He's also from Hunger Games. Matthew Lillard's in it. Don't really know his role in the movie yet, but it looks pretty interesting. Looks pretty fun. This one's going to be coming out in theaters and on Peacock on October 27th.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that's got a ton of lore behind is the Dune series. We actually got a second trailer for Dune 2 this week. The first trailer, we got to see a lot of Florence Pugh's new character that's going to be it. In this one, we get to see a lot more of Christopher Walken as the main antagonist. He's the Emperor. The first Dune movie was really good. It's Denis Villeneuve. He's fantastic. He knows how to shoot these sci-fi epic stories. If you haven't checked the first one out, definitely check it out. I believe it's still on HBO. And if you can't get onto that, watch Arrival. That's by Denis Villeneuve as well. But the second Dune movie is going to be coming to theaters on November 3rd.
Arrival was really good too, though. But
Hmm.
Bird Box Barcelona released its first official trailer, and on this one, it seems like they are going more with the cult that was in the first movie. The cult is pretty much people that kind of worship these creatures, so they're trying to force people to stare at them, which ends up really killing them. But looks interesting. It's gonna probably be half in Spanish and then half in English. But this one's gonna be coming out in July 24th on Netflix, so it's a couple weeks away, and we'll be sure to have the review for that when it's out. And also, we have Retribution, Liam Neeson's new movie. It just released early this week, the trailer, and it kind of seems like Speed, but instead of keeping the bus above a certain speed limit, they are sitting on their car seats, which are rigged with explosives and pressure plates. So if they get up, they blow up. It looks interesting. They're also being told what to do by a mysterious voice on the phone, and this one's going to be out in theaters on August 25th.
The weight thing was also a part of Speed too. That's why they couldn't just like jump off the
Oh, was
bus.
that too? Damn, it's
Yeah.
been so long since I've seen that one. So I guess
uh,
it is Speed.
yeah, it's just Speed, but they're not moving. It's
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 just
Liam Neeson's old, so it's
Just
going to be slow driving.
stop fucking with his family.
So for the big one this week that I'm really looking forward to is Futurama is finally having a comeback after that failed little stint on Comedy Central after being canceled by Fox. They're going to get a return series, at least one season that's going to be coming to Hulu. It's going to be dropping on July 23rd. And then for headlines this week,
Warner Brothers lot caught on fire. Apparently, a transformer, not the fucking cars, but a transformer blew up on lot. The fire was put out within 30 minutes, and luckily, no damages were done to the building, and there were no injuries.
oh, that's good that there's no injuries at least. To
Yeah.
stick with Warner Brothers, they did have some big news drop. James Gunn's Superman Legacy has casted their leads as Kal-El or Superman and Lois Lane. It's two people I've never heard of before. David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan or something. I'm probably saying that wrong. They're gonna
Banana
be
hammock?
something like that, and it's Superman and Lois Lane respectively. It also sounds like they're talking to Bill and Alexander Skarsgård, one of those two, to be Lex Luthor. I'm hoping that it's going to be good. Like I said, I've never really seen these two actors, so it's kind of nice to get kind of fairly unknown people. I mean, like the guy playing Superman, he's in Pearl. That's the only thing I've seen him in, and he's barely in that. But James Gunn's a great director and writer, so I'm sure this is going to come out fantastically.
And the Skarsgård brothers are actually really cool too.
Yeah, if they get
But
them, that's a good pick.
yeah, they're awesome. Kevin Bacon will be starring in a new Bloomhouse television series for Amazon. It's going to be called The Bondsman. Kevin Bacon's going to be playing a bounty hunter that comes back to life from the dead with a second chance at life, but apparently with a demonic twist. Apparently, this one's coming from an original idea and script, but it kind of sounds like the Ryan Reynolds Jeff Bridges movie, R.I.P.D., which is pretty much the same. They die and come back as cops. But we'll see how it is. It's going to be 8 half-hour episodes. Production has not started yet, not until the negotiations with the guild have been resolved.
Isn't Kevin Bacon the bad guy in that R.I.P.D.
He's
movie?
also in Kevin. Yeah, he's
He's
also in that. Yeah,
in kind of sadder news this week, we did lose one of Hollywood's great actors. Alan Arkin passed away this week due to heart complications at age 89. Most people know him from stuff like Argo. He won an Oscar for Little Miss Sunshine. He's going to be missed in Hollywood. He really was one of the greats. So a moment of silence for him. And then for reviews this week, Luis, you have Nimona to start
I
with Net
did
from
watch Nimona.
Netflix.
Nimona released this Friday on Netflix. The movie takes place in a futuristic, like medieval world, and Ballister, one of the main characters, He's framed from killing. He's framed for killing the queen on live television of all places. When he gets arrested, a shapeshifter named Demona is the one that breaks him out and is pretty much trying to help prove his innocence in it. But it's kind of a weird movie because I feel like the whole movie tends to be about like wanting to be accepted in a world where you're different than other people. Because Ballister, his character, he's I guess he's not undercover. He's in the closet still. He's a gay knight. He's also in love with another knight, and but he's not a royal blood, so people don't like him for that. People don't like him for being gay and not having royal blood. And then also Nimona is different because she's a shapeshifter. And then we have flashbacks of her when she's a kid, and she becomes friends with another kid, and then they notice that she's a shapeshifter, and then she gets kind of like exiled. So people didn't like her for being different as well. But I mean, I'm giving this one an I. I couldn't tell if I liked it or not. Some
Is
parts
it?
I
It's a
enjoyed,
movie
other
or a
parts I'm
show?
just like it's just a cartoon
Movie. Oh,
fucking
okay.
skit. But I mean,
So
it's
the
not
new
bad.
show that's on
It's an okay
Apple
movie. It's
TV that
alright.
just dropped this week is going to be Idris Elba's new project.
Movie.
It's called Hijack. They did a 2 episode premiere. I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes a lot. I'm really not sure how they're going to stretch this out to be 7 episodes. It just kind of reminded me a little bit of there's that Liam Neeson where a plane gets hijacked and he's like the air marshal. It's kind of a little bit like reminding me of that, but Idris Elba just plays like a business negotiator. I mean, the first 2 episodes were very compelling. I'm going to keep up with it and give you guys a whole review when the season's all over. But as of right now, I'm going to give it a dope, and you should check out the first 2 episodes.
And Netflix also released an Australian film, Run Rabbit Run. It's starring Sarah Snook, who was also in Succession, which just ended back in May. She's playing a mother also named Sarah, and on her daughter's 7th birthday, her daughter's name is Mia. She begins to act weird and starts being more aggressive. And then they find a rabbit out of nowhere on the front door on her birthday, which I never really understood the whole metaphor behind the rabbit. But apparently, the Sarah Snook's character, Sarah, she had a sister when she was younger, and then the little girl doesn't know anything about her. She hasn't heard of her. And she starts pretending to be her without knowing who she is. She starts calling her by the sister's name that she never knew. So it's a little weird, it's a little creepy, but it's not a very good movie. I mean, later on in the movie, we find out that Sarah actually killed her. She pushed her off like the cliff into a river, and she said that she ran away. But it's not a very scary movie. It's not really thrilling. It's just kind of goes in one way and it doesn't do much with it. And it's not that great. Giving it a nope for me. But my favorite part in the movie is when they're arguing, the mom and daughter, and she closes the car door and smashes her daughter's little fingers with the door.
God, brutal.
That was my favorite part. I was
Of course,
cracking up, dude.
of course it was. For the big theater release this week is going to be the new Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. James Mangold directs this one. You know, it's the 5th installment in this series. I, this one's all about finding the Dial of Destiny, which was created by Archimedes. It's pretty much like a time travel device. The movie opens up with a scene that takes place just completely during World War II. So we get a de-aged Harrison Ford. They actually did a really good job with this, I think. It doesn't look too bad. They took a lot of old shots from older movies with him in it and repurposed them. That worked pretty well. We also get Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. And if anybody who doesn't know this guy, he is one of the best villain actors in Hollywood.
Great.
He was great in Doctor Strange. And he's also great in that movie. I think it's called Another Round that everybody should check out for sure.
Casino
He's
Royale
of
too.
course he is the bad guy in Casino Royale. He's great in that. So in this, he plays a Nazi scientist who's looking for this Dial of Destiny. So they get a lot of good back and forth between him and Harrison Ford. We're also introduced to Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's playing Indiana's goddaughter, and we get to meet her sidekick, who's a character named Teddy. He's played by Ethan Isidore. I believe that's how you say his name. I really wasn't a huge fan of these two characters. Like Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a really good actress. She's great at comedy. She can definitely handle her own and do good improv stuff. Her sidekick was really annoying to me. I just did not like the kid. Overall, the movie's a fun action movie, but it just never felt like an Indiana Jones movie. Big thing for me in Indiana Jones movies is like the trials that he has to go through. Like at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when we see him go through to get the statue, or like the end of the Last Crusade when they're going for the Holy Grail. Like those moments make an Indiana Jones movie to me, and that never really happened. This felt almost more like the Uncharted movie that came out, I think, 2 years ago with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Like it never really felt like Indy. I'm gonna give it an I. It's not better than the original 3, but it is miles better than that 4th movie, so if you're a fan of Indiana Jones, definitely check it out, but overall, it's just gonna be a night for me. And then, for deep cuts this week, we have a new movie, coming out to Netflix called The Outlaws that's gonna be starring Pierce Brosnan. So for my movie this week, I picked The November Man. Pierce Brosnan plays an ex-CIA operative who's brought back in after being retired for a little while. He's going to be pulled in for a very personal mission. He finds himself pitted against his former pupil in a deadly game. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great spy thriller. It's good to check out. You know, we get to see Pierce Brosnan play another kind of spy and not be as sleek as he was as like the James Bond from when I was a kid. Now he's kind of more like a Jason Bourne kind of agent, which was really cool. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this. If you like spy thrillers, definitely check this out. You can find it currently on Stars.
And for my deep cuts this week, I'm picking the actor Patrick Wilson. Some of you may know him, not by his name, but more by his face. He's in the Conjuring movies as well as the Insidious movies, which is why I'm picking him because next week the new Insidious movie comes out, and I'm picking Bone Tomahawk. Patrick Wilson isn't exactly the main character of the movie. There's a group of 4 men led by Kurt Russell, who's actually more of the main character, but Patrick Wilson is one of those guys in the group. This is a Western film, but with a twist. So there's a tribe of cannibals, a Western cannibal movie. It's a little weird, but
Mhm.
so a group of cannibals end up start kidnapping people from their small little town, and one of them ends up being Patrick Wilson's wife, who's also the doctor for the town. So that's when the group of men, like Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, all these other guys, get together and they go rescue the people. But shit starts going down. It's a pretty good movie. It's pretty gory, so if you're not into gore, don't watch it. For the people that have seen this movie, when you think of this movie, there is one scene in particular that I always remember, so you probably will too. There's a scene where the cannibals hang up a dude naked by his ankles and they start whacking him in half, starting at the butthole.
God.
And then they rip him in half and start eating him. This is my kind of shit. This is a good
Yeah,
movie.
it's
Well, yes,
definitely your
check
kind of
this
shit.
out. This movie is streaming on Roku, Tubi, and I believe it's also on which one? It's also rentable on Amazon.
Nice.
And thanks again, customers. Here's what's coming out this week.
And happy 4th of July.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's 4th of July. I'm just too hungover to remember anything.